Hello guys, today we'll learn about the term that is centrifuge. So it's basically the separation uh, of two layers by applying centrifugal force. So a centrifuge is a device generally driven by electric motor that puts an object, example is a rotor, in a rotational movement around a fixed axis. Centrifuge usually gets its the terminology from the force that is centrifugal, and this is a virtual force that will pull the spinning objects outward. And we all know that the centripetal force is the real physics force that's going to work, and it's pulling spinning objects inward. So spinning a bucket of water is a good example of these forces which are really operative. Sometimes we also call centrifugation as extractor, separator, or segregation. So a centrifuge, normally as in the centrifuge equipment, there are a rotor where we keep our the samples. So usually these devices, as I told you earlier, they use a centrifugal force to subject a sample or a taster to a specified constant force. For example, to separate various components of a fluid or from a fluid. Okay, so this is basically achieved by spinning the fluid at very high speed within the container, closed container, so thereby separating fluids of different densities. Suppose you can separate the cream from the milk or liquid from the solids, and it works by causing denser substances and particles to move outward in the radial direction. So at the same time, the objects that are less dense are displaced and moved to the center. In a laboratory centrifuge that uses sample tubes, the radial acceleration causes denser particles to settle to the bottom of the tube, while the low density substances, which are less heavier, will rise to the top. Okay, and the centrifuge can be very effective filter that separates contaminants from the body of fluid. So this is a centrifuge of, you can see we have 7, and the maximum rpm that we can go is 8000 rpm, and the brand name is Hitich. Okay, and you can see the routers here placed are equidistant. So what you have to do, you have to add the solution. Okay, and they should be the leveled means, if suppose here we have 5 gram or 10 gram of this solution, that could be the weight, so that also, or you can put it here, so it has to be diagonally. And if you are placing the vials with solutions here, so they should all have the same amount of liquid solution, or you can say same volume of liquid solutions. So better we add the solutions in terms of weight. So if the weight is not balanced, it will not run, it will give you an error. So let's play this, and then we will be subsequently seeing the other kind of centrifuge that we have in our laboratory. Now you can see here I added the solution here, which is having, you can see this one is having some solid particles, this doesn't have some solid particles. Now I would try to add here, and then I have to cover the lid, and then we can do some settings. So you can see we can go to maximum 60 rpm into 100, and then if you want to change the time, you can go up time here. Okay, and also you can change, okay, from do settings here also. Okay, so now we'll start. This has started to centrifuge, you can see here. So if you want to stop that in the middle, so you can just press stop button. Okay, if I stop it, you'll see stopped. If you want to start again, so I'll just start again, start it again. Now this has stopped. So after running for around 5 to 10 minutes, opened up, you can see this did not have any solid, so you can see there is a separation of the solid and liquid here. Now this is another kind of centrifuge which is a heavy power. So you can see the name is Hitachi. Okay, and here we have a lot of options here. Like this is a preparative ultracentrifuge. Normally this is used for separating the layers in the blood samples. So there is a power button here we need to switch on. You saw it started, and this one is the initialization of the equipment, centrifuge equipment. So you can see here it can go up to 15,000 rpm. Okay, and also you can play with the timings, and this is the temperature, okay, here, and the time also. So, and there is a button which can be used to open. Okay, so first of all we have to press vacuum. Now after pressing vacuum, we'll open it. So it's open now, and then you can see there is a lid. We need to open the lid. It looks like this. So this is my top cover here, and now this is my centrifuge vials where I am going to add the solution, and this is my top cover of the vial. They are very robust. They are made of Teflon. Even you can add acid, it will not react to resist the action of acids onto it. Now into the centrifuge vial, I will add 100 ml of the water and try to separate the solid from the water. Okay, so you have to make sure that you are adding the same amount of, in terms of weight, same amount should be, otherwise it will give you an error while it is running. After capping the top mount covers, so we have to make sure we have to make sure the arrow, you can see the sign has to be clearly in line with the this one. Okay, it should not be here or there. Okay, now what we will do, we will simultaneously cap it from the top. Okay, and then with the hands, normal hands, not very tight, we have just to close it. To closing the lid, I will just pull this lever, or you can say pull this the cover here. Now it is closed. Okay, this is closed now. Okay, now close. Now for starting, what we have to do is just press start. Okay, and you can see everything is appearing up here on the screen. Okay, so just start. So you can see when it starts to show this. Now also there are certain precautions that you need to take. Never use any materials capable of producing flammable or explosive vapors, and be sure to take the necessary precautions before separating radioactive, toxic or pathogenic materials. So we have to take care of these certain kind of precautions. So since there was an imbalance, now it's trying to decel. Okay, otherwise it will be clearly accelerating to the speed of 50,000 rpm. So we need to figure it out, what was the error, what was the problem. We need to open the lid after pressing the vacuum button. So now it's 0 now again. So what we need to do, press vacuum and then open the lid. After opening the lid, we need to see what was the error. Now we will try to weigh it. You see the weight is 185.86. This one weight is less, so it was showing an error. This weight after removing certain kind of solution is 177.4. Now we will check the weight of this. It's 173.37. Weights are similar. Now we are starting again. Guys, this is our another centrifuge where you can see we have a different kind of the assembly. So this one is normally usually for, you can see we can keep these centrifuge vials. Okay, make sure the vials are robust. and they can resist this much of rotations, or you can say centrifugal force. And this one is another assembly where you can keep these kind of vials. Also make sure you add the same amount of, the weight of the samples in all the vials. If you don't add, it will give you an error, as we saw in the different kind of centrifuge. Okay, so, and also there is a setting you can do. So here want to do a setting, so from here you can change the time. Okay, and these are different kinds of settings. You can change the weight here on the set, and then you can change the router if you want to change the router. Okay, you can change the router, and from up you can change the setting. Okay, so these are different kind of centrifuge that we have in our laboratory.